This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction after every game. My name is Jonathan Shields. Everyone just take a big sigh of relief. I thought the worst happened, as I think all of you did as well in that ninth inning, which was stressful to say the very least. But in this one, we're going to talk about how Pepio really battled. Didn't have his best stuff, but man, he was still impressive. That huge sixth inning that got the Rays the lead. We're going to talk about Eric Orsi. And I wanted to make this a point because I was saying this to anyone that was around me when he was pitching. He is not a two-inning reliever. We will get onto that. We're going to talk about the big road trip. We're going to look ahead. But first, we have to talk about how the bullpen almost sold.
This is what you'll be talking about.
We have to, and it's unfortunate to start here in a win for the Rays. But man, I should say the bullpen almost sold. I should say the Eric Orsi, Edwin Uceta combo almost sold. And that leads us right into Eric Orsi, who had a dominant eighth inning. And he struck out the side. He had struck out all three batters. And he comes back in the ninth, and he immediately just collapses. It's a home run, it's a double, and he gets taken out. So now his line looks way worse than what it should be. But if you go to Eric Orsi, the last time that he's gone 2 innings, he went an inning in a third. So he went into the second inning against Baltimore. He was fine. The game before that against Baltimore, 2 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs. Against Detroit, last time went 2 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned, 2 home runs. I mean, this is not if you go to when he went into the second inning against the Mets, 2 hits, 3 walks. I mean, this is not just a one-off trend. Like this, this is something that has been happening, and it's not a coincidence anymore. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed. That he's a 1-inning guy. There are guys that are 2-inning guys. Eric Orsi is not. And I get today he wasn't trying to shut the door in a crazy game, but Cash want to save the bullpen a little bit. But man, I mean, you have an off day tomorrow. You have some time to pitch your guys and not let this get competitive. And you see the track record with what he's done recently going into that second inning. So I don't think that is on Eric Orsi. I think that's on Kevin Cash and the pitching staff for sending him back out there when he should not have been back out there. But obviously Edwin Uceta comes in and immediately gives up a soft blooper. And at that point I was like, man, this is really, really gonna maybe come back to bite the Rays. But they kept on fighting, especially Uceta, and then you get to the bases loaded, 1 out, and that's where we're gonna get to our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It's with Brent Rooker, the Athletics best hitter, Nick Kurtz, one of the best young hitters in baseball. Edwin Uceta comes in and just stops caring. I mean, he immediately flipped the zone off. He was mad about it. I like this Edwin Uceta. He was just pounding the inside of the zone to Brent Rooker and then away and outside to Nick Kurtz. And, the people that were with me know I was saying high fastball. You said he's got that fastball up against Brent Rooker, and he does. And then right when he threw the inside cutter to Nick Kurtz for to get it to 3-2, I was like, he's going to the changeup. It's going to be the changeup. And that changeup, the last changeup they threw was maybe the best changeup he's thrown all year. I mean, that was pure filth to get the strikeout. And everyone in the greater Tampa Bay area and everyone in Greece, where I am, let out a collective sigh of relief because, man, the Rays could not mentally deal with a loss like this one where I said it yesterday. Everything I said yesterday, the Rays ended up doing. Ryan Pepio needed to go out and give a quality start. Even though it looked shaky at first, he really came back in battle. I thought the offense was going to come out and dominate. They did it against the starter, which I was a little bit surprised about. They did against the bullpen. But I did not have this on my bingo card that the Athletics were going to almost come back from a 4-run deficit with 6 hits in the ninth inning. But at the end of the day, the Rays still pull out the win. So we need to talk about that 6th inning because that's what broke things open. But first, in the second, we saw Jake Mangum get the inside the park home run. And I wasn't watching the broadcast at the time, so I don't know if they gave the stat on the last time where the Rays had someone hit an inside the park home run. So maybe someone in the comments can let me know. But man, it was an experience to the least. But I mean, this lineup really showed out. I mean, every single 7 out of the 9 guys got a hit, and one of the guys did get a hit with Jonathan Aranda, and that's very unlike him. And one of his outs was a line out. But that 6th inning, it felt like the Rays needed something, right? They needed that extra kind of boost, and it starts with Josh Lowe, and it's the leadoff guy, and he immediately comes up and blasts one. And right there, it's like, okay, like here we go. And then Brandon Lowe extends his hitting streak to 18. Guys, I never thought Brandon Lowe would hit 274 over a whole season in my entire life. I mean, we're watching a guy at 30. I'm not gonna say have a breakout season, but the closest ever got was in 2019 when he played 82 games. He hit 270. I mean, anytime he's played more than 100 games, he hasn't hit over 245. I mean, this is a revelation from Brandon Lowe, and he should be an all-star. Comfortably should be an all-star. He should be starting the all-star game, but we know how that the all-star game and stuff works with getting people in. But anyway, and then Yandy comes up and hits one of the hardest balls I've ever heard. I mean, you heard it. I think it ended up going 113 off the bat, 113.1 off the bat. It was a no-doubter home run in every single ballpark, 415. I mean, it was just utterly destroyed. And Yandy had another one later on that went 389 feet. That would have been a home run in a few ballparks as well. But, in a time where the Rays needed a game and they needed their team to step up, the offense in the 6th inning did that. And they didn't stop there. They got more greedy. So they did all what I just said without recording out. And then Junior hits a big double, and then Chandler Simpson singles, and then Simpson does what he does. And Matt Thaiss, who is if the Rays go on to make the playoffs and make some sort of run, Matt Thaiss being able to be such a sizable upgrade over Brandon Wortfett is something that needs to be studied, because my God, he just provides so much length in a lineup that needs it from a backup catcher position, because it's tough to play Danny Jansen 3 days in a row because he's not a DH, right? He's obviously, he can't DH, but he's not a guy you're going to take a DH spot away from Yandy, Jonathan Aranda, Brandon Lowe, whoever needs that DH spot. But so I always have to shout him out when he does special stuff. So we're going to get more into the pitching. We're going to talk about this big road trip. We're talking a little bit more about that 9th inning as well right after this. This episode is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use websites packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so they'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. This episode is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. You guys know my favorite thing about Monarch is it takes out stuff like how much you take on takeout, foods, and subscriptions you don't use. And it takes out money and shows you, what else you can invest it into, or just different ways you can spend it, not on those things that aren't necessary. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. So if you guys are in the live, make sure to leave a comment, as we're going to talk about Ryan Pepio. So he is also our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
because I thought Pep was just so impressive after he gave up the first home run in the first and then another in the second. All of a sudden it's 2-0. The Rays are in this hole, but he just shut it down from there. Yes, he got in some trouble spots. Those 3 walks are not ideal, but 6 innings for his 9 Ks, had 14 swing and misses. I was super impressed with him, the way that he battled. Obviously didn't have his best stuff, but he was able to turn it into a quality start. And after a start where he really struggled against Baltimore. And this was another game where the Rays expecting batting average almost was over 100 points more than the Athletics. So if they would have lost this game, then they would have been out baseball savanted for the third time. I mean, take as much stock in that as you want. Baseball is a game not based on expected batting average, but it's also always good to look at. But again, very impressed with Ryan Pepio, the way that he was able to bounce back in such a big way tonight. And it is just much needed and something that I think we all kind of expected from Pep, because he does have ace level stuff. So again, just super big for him to bounce back. But I wanted to look ahead to this road trip. We talked about a lot about this game and a lot about this series and how important. Yesterday we talked about how important it was for the Rays to get a win today. But if you look ahead, the Rays end the first half on a 10-game homestand, or a 10-game road trip. I wish it was a 10-game homestand. And it starts with them going to Minnesota. And Minnesota is the only team under 500 that they will play. So the Rays have an off day tomorrow and then head to Minnesota. And Minnesota has lost 3 in a row. But they play later tonight against the Marlins. But they're struggling. They're 5 games under. Hopefully the Rays are catching Minnesota like they're catching Kansas City, and just continue just to put kind of like the nail in their coffin. So the thing with Minnesota, they haven't scored more than 5 runs in a game since June 19th. And some of those losses have been ugly. like 19-6, 9-0, or 17-6, 9-0, 9-8. They had a stretch where they gave up 6 or more runs in 5 straight games. That's not true. They scored 10 runs one time. But anyway, suffice to say that the Twins offense isn't firing on all cylinders like it was when they won 12 games in a row. But the Rays are going to have to face Joe Ryan during this series, and he's their best pitcher. It always seems like for a little bit, the Rays were kind of skating having to face that best pitcher. But now, they're going to get a full dose of Joe Ryan in this game. But that's not who's going to be pitching on Friday when we come back. It will be Zach Littell taking the mound for the Rays, who has just been old reliable. And he's taking on Bailey Ober. So Ober has struggled this year. He's 4-6 with a 5.2 ERA, has a whip approaching 1.5. That's walks and hits per inning pitch. So how many base runners you give up per outing. And, this is a guy that his last time out gave up, his last 2 times out, he's given up at least 7 earned, at least 3 home runs. In the month of June, his ERA was 9. So the Rays cannot allow him to have a bounce back day against them. The Rays have been killing right-handed pitching this year with, the lineup that they can put out there. This is not a game where the Rays can get, complacent. He's lost 5 straight starts. He hasn't had a win in a start since May 3rd. This is kind of put on how bad he's been pitching, especially this last month. He gave up 30 runs and 38 hits in a month in 30 innings. He was giving up basically a run an inning, which, that's what a 9 ERA means. But basically, the Rays absolutely need to take advantage of the matchup tomorrow. So, again, big win for the Rays. Now it's time to get into some comments. We'll go to Jack's takes versus few. Again, too close. Defense has carried this team through the last largely successful stretch, but definitely pitching and fielding are slipping too close. You're seeing mistakes that the Rays don't normally make a lot during this game. So it was good for them to, kind of figure that out. As we go to Gary again, he says, got a rather stressful ending in the 9th. Fortunately, you said a bent but did not break. The inside the park home run by Jake Mangum turned this game around. Magnum should be playing about almost every day. I think he is playing about every day. So he's been fantastic. So go to Garrett again. This Rays lineup with J-Law, B-Law, Yandy, Aranda, J-Lowe, B-Law, Aranda, Magnum hitting 1 through 6, 7 through 9 are flexible, especially high some game comes back. Yeah, it's about as complete a lineup the Rays have had in a little bit. I see a lot of people in here saying, let's go big wins. As we go to Gary, says Jake Mangum inside the park at Steinbrenner's electric, set the tone. Yeah, it was also just a big moment for the Rays to kind of exhale after being punched in the mouth, really, right when they came out of the game, the 2 home runs in the first 2 innings. This is something that I wanted to touch on. I touched on briefly when we talked about Brandon Lowe. He has an 18-game hitting streak. Only Jason Bartlett with 19. Yandy Díaz at 20 have hit more consecutive games for the Rays. And I said it, man. If Brandon Lowe hitting 270 is something I never could imagine. He still has the power, which has just been absolutely massive for him, man. It's just crazy. We see some people talking about DFA Usetta. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't. The Rays have a lot of people that have our worse bullpen guys than Uceta. As we go to Marco, and this is a fun question. I always like to answer some of these fun questions while, in the midst of lives. Kevin Kiermaier 2014 or Will Myers 2015. If you guys remember, I'm pretty sure Will Myers was Rookie of the Year. I could be wrong, but regardless, he had a great year that year. But I'm always Kevin Kiermaier's 2014 year. He was like, I think he was like a 5-win player or something. It might have even been higher, but he was insane. So I'll lean, Kevin Kiermaier there. So we go to Jake Huff. He talks about supply houses where it's at. Supply house is crucial. Code locked on for half off your first year, big time there. As we go to Tim Riley, he says prediction for Rays seeding in the playoffs at the end of the season. That's a really good question because the Rays are only a game out of first place right now, and the Yankees play the Blue Jays tonight. They definitely play today. I don't know if it's today or tonight. It's tonight, so they don't play till later today. So, I think the Rays end up being the first or second wild card, which means they'll be hosting. But it'll be great if we can get there and avoid the wild card altogether. Let's go to Randy Luxembourg. I don't know. He might be a first-time commenter, so thank you for commenting. If you are, he says, how are they as bad a team? I think it means they outplayed us for most of the series. I actually disagree with that. I think the Rays outplayed the Athletics for a lot of the series. The Rays just never completely took the series by the throat like they needed to. The Rays are 500. They're 26-26 against teams with a 500 record or below. So, it's not. I don't think it's concerning. It's baseball. That's why in baseball they say you're basically in baseball. You're going to win 40 games. You're going to lose 40 games, regardless of who you are. It's what you do with the other 100 or other 80 something games that you play, and that's going to determine your season. So the A's are a good team. You look at their lineup; they have real pieces. Jacob Wilson's going to be starting the All-Star game. Brent Rooker, it should probably also be an All-Star, but the A's won't get two. Nick Kurtz, one of the best young hitters in baseball. Lawrence Butler is really good. They need to get a few arms, but I don't think that they're as bad as people think. As we go to Rafi Palgan, says absolutely critical win going into this road trip. Bullpen going to be pitching for their jobs next couple of series. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that I think that are pitching for their jobs, and getting Manny Rodriguez back. Some good news on him. He pitched, I believe, in the Florida Complex League, and he pulled out pretty well. I think him coming back kind of slots people back into their roles. You have Uceta or Rodriguez, Clevenger, Rodriguez, Fairbanks as your 7, 8, 9, and you can sprinkle in Orzi, Uceta, Solster, wherever else you want into the mix. Montgomery as well. Solster and Engard and some of those other guys going up and down. And some of the guys that hopefully that should be getting back soon. As we go to Arjun Crespo, says, love the background. I think he was chasing downtown St. Pete. If I had a graphic like this of downtown St. Pete that Lockdown gave me, I would have. Trust me. I always rep downtown St. Pete. As Marco talks about any update on Shannon Kim, Hyesung Kim is in a really weird spot. He's played 21 rehab games before today's game, which is very abnormal, guys. That is not normal. So I hope he's back soon. I think it's kind of a red flag that he's not. And then Shane McClanahan is progressing about as well as he can since his little shutdown that they made him do. As Mitchell Peters comments, if the Rays make the playoffs, where do you think they'll play? Yeah, this has been a hot topic lately. And I saw someone on WAE say that they should just play in the away ballpark and be the home team. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. I'm sorry to anyone, the guy that said that at WAE. You're basically playing up to 7 road games if it's the ALCS or the World Series. Yeah, if you're going to play a different stadium, they need to play Miami. That's the only – it should be a Steinbrenner, Miami, period. So I want to make sure I get to some before we start to get out of here. And Andrew asked this something I saw earlier I wanted to get back into. Are the Rays moving back in the Trop anytime soon? They are not, no, but they will be next season. So, they're not going to play next season at Steinbrenner also. But this time next year, the Rays will be playing at Tropicana Field. But, it was weird with the materials, and I could be wrong about this, but I saw, they have the materials, and they sent it to China to be made, and it gets sent back here. And, with the way Rays stadium things have gone recently, I'm not incredibly optimistic at that it'd be fact-checked because one delay, one hurricane that could hit the region during the season, knock on wood, that doesn't. But anything like that could just set that stadium back from getting the roof off even more. But I appreciate all the comments. This is probably one of the most comments we've ever got to on a live. We have some more AR football. I see him in here. Jackson as well. Some guys that I didn't put on screen, but I see your guys' comments. So again, I appreciate all you guys hopping in. If you guys are watching the replay, make sure you leave a like and comment. If you guys are in the live, before you leave a like. So again, I appreciate everyone for joining in. Again, no game tomorrow. We'll be right back Friday live after the game in Minnesota. So I will see you guys then. Thank you again.